Hey everyone, welcome to the Fat Life Podcast, a place where we celebrate embracing the good life, drinking the good drinks, eating the good foods, and being an overall good person. Now, it's time to embrace the fluff with your hosts, Reggie and Carter.
Welcome to the Fat Life Podcast, Philly!
Oh, you're so gay.
I'm excited, man.
Jumping on the Philly bandwagon.
I'm not a Philly fan, nor do I care about Philly, but the fact that they actually pulled off a win against New England when everyone said that they wouldn't with a backup quarterback, I'm on Philly's bandwagon for the night. Philly all night.
I spent about 10 hours in Philadelphia once by myself. Loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. They were actually playing, it was a Saturday morning that I got there. They were playing Washington Redskins for a playoff, and I had a layover for Greyhound. I was coming from Arizona to New York, and I had a 12-hour layover, actually 10-hour layover in Philadelphia, where I had to get out the bus. And now this is after Rocky 1, before Rocky 2. But when you walk out of the bus station, because you have 10 hours, it's like, it's 10 hours to do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
And I was 19 years old, no money in my pocket, and I walked out of the bus terminal, and you walk past, you walk through this big thing that they have. It's this big structure that you walk underneath, and it has a walkway right through this building. It's almost like a tunnel, and they've got, whenever you see the commercials of Philadelphia, they show this big building with this guy standing on top.
Rocky?
And it's that building. No, it's not Rocky. I want to say it's Benjamin Franklin.
Is it Liberty?
Or William Penn. But you walk out of it, and you walk right down the street, and Independence Hall is right there.
Right.
And that to me, because I'm a history buff, that was so cool, because you actually walked into Independence Hall. There was nobody there, no tour guides, no nothing. And you walk in, and it's just quiet. And when you realize all the history that occurred there and everything, and I got to sit there for a little while, and then I left there and went down the street a little bit to the Liberty Bell. It was really a cool little town. Cool little town. So much history.
What year was this?
1980.
1980, okay.
So before any of our listeners were born.
Probably. But you know what? The history was still there.
That's
Absolutely.
True.
And it's still there today.
Something I would want to
So,
Was it still the city of brotherly love?
still the city of, well, I don't know about brotherly love. I kind of stayed out of the restrooms, but
But this was
it
before.
was definitely a cool place.
This was definitely before Rocky 1.
No, this was after Rocky 1. It was before Rocky 2.
Rocky
Okay.
2. Okay, so Rocky
Right.
1 was still kind of...
Rocky
it was
1,
a
I want to
success,
say, was
right?
77.
So
Okay.
no Rocky statue yet.
Matter of fact, I went with a bunch of friends to see Rocky 1 at Christown, Mann's Theater, which is kind of like the equivalent of what Harkins is today. And we left the theater, and mind you, where I lived was a good 4 miles away. We ran home after Rocky.
Because
we
of
ran home,
how
and
pumped up-
everybody in their heads were hearing da 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 da. Of course, I was always the one behind pulling up the end, but it was just I think that was like 77 maybe.
Okay.
But so Philadelphia would have been 1980, so it was before Rocky 2.
Very cool. Well, for those of you who don't know, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Mike Sweaty, and I am the founder of Sweaty Balls. No, not really. I'm Mike Schreg. Carter's my son. Reggie's my soon-to-be son-in-law.
Unofficially.
Unofficially.
I mean, we could do a proposal on the podcast.
Oh, could you? You want to bring her out?
Should we?
Allie.
Should we?
Allie.
If you feel like it, go for it. It's romantic.
Alex.
Patriots just lost a Super Bowl.
No, you both
How more romantic
come out
could that
here.
be?
Hun, can you come out here for a sec?
You don't. If you, no.
Oh, this is fun.
Oh my.
Welcome to the Fat Life Podcast, guys. Say hello. Introduce yourself.
No, don't go anywhere. Just say hi.
I've been on here before.
Sit
Oh,
down.
okay, well,
Good
just
show.
sit down for a
Sit down
minute.
for a second.
Why?
Enjoy the
because
show.
We're having a family
We want to talk
conversation.
about something real quick.
Cleaning.
Well, we're cleaning. Just wanted to talk about something really quick.
We were talking about Philadelphia.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the game?
It was good.
It was bueno.
Bueno,
Bueno.
Talk, woman.
did you care if the Patriots lost like we did?
Care?
You did care.
Say it in a microphone so they hear you.
You can hear it right there.
No, you can't.
It's just picking them up somewhere.
Talk, crazy lady, talk.
What about?
Life in general.
Were
those
you
that don't know-
excited when Tom Brady fumbled the ball?
Yes.
Okay.
I told everyone to kill him.
What was your
You
favorite
wanted
commercial?
to see him die. Okay.
My favorite commercial.
Read that.
I can't.
How can you not remember your favorite commercial?
M&M one.
Mine was Alexa.
The Alexa
I thought
one
the
was really
Eminem one was
funny.
kind of dull. Like, it was funny, but it was... They showed it, like, 3
Danny
days...
DeVito? No, that was funny.
They
I
showed
liked
it, like, 3 days before the Super Bowl. They showed that Danny DeVito was playing the red Eminem.
Oh,
So I was kind of like... After
like
it
the-
happened, I kind of knew it was what was going to come
I
from
like
that.
the Doritos commercial with
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman
That was pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah, Peter
Yeah.
Dinklage.
and the imp.
And the imp.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Tyrion.
Tyrion Lannister. That's pretty
shit
good.
is funny as hell.
That's pretty funny.
He was a bad elf.
A bad elf. He seems like he's a mad elf.
He's from the South Pole.
That's pretty
Anybody
funny.
want some Samoas?
No, we're good.
All right, good, man.
We're good. So, what else?
I'm just excited, man. Super Bowl's over.
Super Bowl's over. We had good food.
Baseball's
Let's talk
coming
about
up.
our food.
The food we had. How many
Allie
wings would
picked
you say?
The worst cheese in the world.
Hey, I ate almost all of it, so I don't know
Was it
about
beer
you.
cheese? What kind of
No,
cheese was
it was the like normally you expect like nacho cheese.
Right.
This was plain old
Cheddar cheese.
cheese.
Everyone ate it, so.
Barf.
It wasn't Velveeta, so at least there's that.
That's right.
That is true.
Velveeta is
could've made something
nasty.
fun, though.
Right. Right.
I mean,
didn't think,
I
real
wanted to
fun.
cook something, but you were like, no, let's just go pick something up.
I didn't think the spinach dip was all that bad.
I thought
Megan said it was gross. I liked it.
Oh, that was good. No, the spinach.
I like the bread. I don't know what was if the bread was special.
because Allie cut
It
it.
was my
We
slicing.
found
It
her
had to have been
slice of
slicing.
life.
That
No, we
was-
found her every
The slice
slice
of life.
was perfectly sliced, identical.
It was pretty good.
It was amazing.
It was
My
pretty
secret
It's
good.
like
technique.
you bought it in the store.
No, but it tastes like it had like garlic in it, and it just like I didn't need artichoke dip. It was just the bread alone. I was eating it.
There was no garlic on the bread.
Oh, it's
It was
great.
Plain French bread.
It worked.
Whole
It
another
worked.
one that you can take home.
Yes, and I'm taking the wings. I'm just
You're
putting that
taking
out
the
there.
wings.
Taking the wings.
You're an asshole.
Those wings were amazing.
Amazing.
And
You're
I
gonna
can
say the F bomb.
I'm gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say the F bomb, but there's
Clap yourself,
family.
'cause
There's
Lynn's
family. What can I say? I want to keep this classy until the
the
ladies go
warden
inside.
of the Shreg clan.
We don't want Dad to lose his yard time.
Yeah, he only gets, what is it? You said 30 minutes of yard time every Saturday?
30 minutes.
Well, you were a good boy. Did
Inside
you
joke.
You mowed the lawn.
Looks
like
nice.
that?
I was
Mow the
impressed.
lawn.
Oh, it looked like it was mowed.
It was mowed.
but not
Who
Not
mowed
by
it?
him.
Who mowed it?
the landscaper.
Juan.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you.
no, that,
Then I was going to be, oh man. Now we're really in trouble.
that's pretty
Me
funny.
and Reggie are already on like the 3rd season of Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black is incredible. I love it.
Good.
Have you
I'm
seen
not
it?
a fan.
I'd never. I would watch. Like,
I've seen the first
episode
2
10 times,
seasons, and that's about it. Just wasn't into the whole idea.
So, what are we going to talk about tonight, guys?
Life.
What about life?
Big
Changes in life.
What kind of changes in life?
I don't know. We got
Well,
a baby on the way.
We got a baby on the
We
way.
got
Excited.
our OB appointment tomorrow.
OB.
A new
Wan.
OB. Because Desert
Obi-Wan.
West.
Trust me, Obi-Wan.
Desert West
Stop.
sucks.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't clear their insurance channels properly.
You know where you can tell that, Obi-Wan? Trust me, Obi-Wan. You're not the only one.
Star Wars joke just went. Woo. Yeah, but how about that preview for Solo?
That was badass.
That looked good.
I'm more interested in seeing the 10 Cloverfield Paradox.
That
didn't really care.
Netflix original.
Yeah.
Netflix.
As soon as I saw there was it was going to be a show on Netflix, I could care less.
Oh, come on. Did you see the new Adam Sandler and Chris Rock movie coming out on Netflix?
No.
Which one?
Adam Sandler plays the father of the bride, and Chris Rock is the father of the groom, and he's got to bring him across country for the wedding in a car.
That looks funny.
It looks funny.
I haven't seen it, but I'll have to check that out when I
So,
look into it.
what other kind of changes?
The other change is gonna be this one right now.
Oh my god.
Miss Allie Marie. We've got a baby on the way, and this is not the romantic way that I would like to plan, but it's the one way I knew I could surprise you. and definitely on a whim.
Oh my gosh.
So obviously we're having a baby, but I want you to be more than just a baby mama. I would like you to be my wife.
Oh my god.
And I was wondering if you would marry
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course. Oh my gosh. It's so sparkly. Oh, baby, I love you.
There you have it.
There we have it.
If you weren't able to pick that up on the podcast,
Oh my gosh.
I saw it before you went to Portland.
It
Or
is
to
official.
Spokane.
Oh my god.
Okay.
congratulations, good sir. I filmed the whole thing.
Oh,
Mom
that's
hasn't seen it.
It's about 5 minutes long, so enjoy that.
I'm gonna have to go in there and see.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we wanted you out here for.
Beautiful.
Okay, chop
Okay, now
chop.
you can go.
Kitchen needs to be cleaned.
Oh my God,
I'm
Carter.
gonna whoop your.
That was Carter, not me. Oh man.
Oh, it even has
What?
little parts.
I was talking to her.
Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful. I love it.
So I guess my mom gets her wish, kind of. She said she was waiting for the hat trick. My sister got engaged Friday. She was hoping that Tom Brady would win a Super Bowl.
Oh, well, 2 out of 3 ain't
And
bad.
that we'd get engaged this weekend
Sounds
as
like
well.
a Meatloaf song.
I don't feel too sad for her
Why?
that Tom Brady didn't win.
Oh my God. He looked like an old ass lady walking into that game. Did you see
I
that
wouldn't
picture?
say that he looked like an old. Oh, yeah, and the coat you
Yeah.
posted. Yeah, I agree with that. You guys see the post? Oh, you saw it? Yeah, I agree with that.
Allie's over here gonna be taking pictures for days.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
We gotta post that video on our Facebook page so
On
our
the
fans
Fat
can
Life.
see it.
We will.
Yeah, because that was.
We'll throw up the
definitely
proposal
special.
up on the Facebook tonight.
Definitely a special night.
I'm like shaky.
Oh, you see, your dad's introducing himself and says he's the future son-in-law or father-in-law of me. And then your brother was like, well, unofficially. And I was like, I mean, we could
was
do
there
a...
actually a movie coming out with
No.
Adam Sandler
Yeah, there
and
is.
Chris
Yeah, there
Rock?
is.
Oh,
There
okay.
is.
He's redoing the father of
Yeah.
the bride kind of stuff.
The only difference is his parents aren't black, so it'll work out.
Are you gonna drive his parents back from Washington?
If they want to drive, yeah, I'd drive him back. I like his parents.
August, get out of here.
Good thing we're on the podcast right now where they listen
Right.
to.
No, they don't listen.
Oh, they don't listen?
No, my
Oh,
parents
okay.
won't listen to the podcast. They don't like
that
me
works.
enough.
Congratulations, Al.
Love you. Bye. Wherever you're going.
Well, one down, one to go.
Ooh, Carter?
Go.
Now we gotta have Noah to get a podcast going. You hear that, Megan? Get Noah to get a podcast going.
She doesn't listen to the show.
Megan does. She listens to the show.
No, she doesn't.
The show's on Spotify.
Yeah, she hasn't listened to us in a while because I talked to her when I was going up to Flagstaff with her like 3 weekends ago.
Yeah.
She's like, I haven't listened to him forever. I was like, yeah, I figured.
Oh, what an asshole.
Yeah,
Can't
exactly.
be friends anymore.
Can't be friends.
Cannot be friends anymore.
Wow, how do you top that?
I don't think there's ever been a live proposal on a podcast before.
Not on this one.
Not on
Well,
this
definitely
one.
not on this one.
Not
but
on this one,
I don't,
but
none on the ones that I've seen.
There's been a couple on the Hollywood Babylon I listen to.
Oh, okay.
Where they do it live in front of crowds.
Well, that'd be kinda cool.
A lot of Kevin Smith fans will come to the show and write in an email saying, "Will you marry us?" Because he's
Yeah,
ordained.
but has any of
Oh,
the
yeah.
host
Oh, yeah.
proposed on the
Oh
show?
no, a host
Yeah,
is not.
exactly.
No, that's
so get off my
forbidden.
dick.
Hey, you won that one.
I think the only way you could top it is if Philadelphia won the. Oh wait,
Oh wait. All right. Pretty good night. I'll take it.
leave Boston with nothing but their Dunkin' Donuts coffee tomorrow.
So you listen to all of our podcasts, Mike.
I have.
Would you say you're our number one fan?
I think he is.
I don't know how many fans do you have.
Okay, so our only one fan?
No. We've had a steady, 75 listeners.
That's not bad.
But hey, you know what? That's good for us because we don't have $1 million studio
You're
like
finding
Joe
your pace.
Rogan.
That's it.
You know, we're doing it our own. But one thing that we have really started to pick up on is our crime corner.
Yes, we do.
And really going over some crimes. We've got 3. We're going to skim over 1, and we'll go with 2. One of them, obviously, is a sad, tragic news of former Cardinals and Colts linebacker Edwin Jackson, I believe.
I believe that's what you said, Jackson.
Could be wrong. Tragically struck this morning. in the emergency lane of Indianapolis.
And you were telling me how this happened. Can you explain
Yeah,
to the
so
listeners exactly what happened? Because it's tragic.
he was being a good professional athlete in that aspect, not driving home drunk. He had actually ordered an Uber, got sick in the back of the vehicle, and the Uber driver kindly pulled over on the highway in the emergency lane and let him out to throw up. And the driver himself got out and was helping this athlete as well. At that time, an F-150 drunk driver hit them head-on collision and took both the Uber driver and this NFL player's life. Then got out of his truck and proceeded to run away from the scene. Luckily, he has been apprehended and is in custody currently in Indianapolis.
Good for Indianapolis PD to be able to get him and
Absolutely.
catch up with him. Because obviously, who knows how long it took for a police officer to get there.
Right.
He was only 26 years old.
Yeah. And I will say I was very impressed with the press that's been covering this, that they actually included their sympathies for the Uber driver and his full name as well.
Right.
And not just, there was some unnamed driver.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they took the sympathy into
consideration
and put that in there as well, which I greatly respect
Very
as well.
good
He actually
kudos to them.
only played with the Cardinals for the preseason of 2015.
Right.
Before Indianapolis picked him up. Even BA did a Twitter thing today saying, "Rest in peace, Edwin Jackson. Gone too soon. Fine young man. #pound cake." And I don't know if BA was talking about what he was having for breakfast but I guess pound cake was Edwin Jackson's nickname. 26 years old, that's too young.
Yeah, it really is.
Too young.
It's
It is.
tragic. Speaking about too young and cake, we're going to talk about a little surprise for you, Mike.
Yeah, we
How
kind of wanted to
much?
see.
How much do you love cupcakes?
How much do I love cupcakes?
Yeah.
Do you love cupcakes?
Depends. I tell you what.
What's your ideal cupcake?
The Hostess cupcakes that have the orange
Oh, that's old school.
Yeah.
top on them with the white.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in Walmart
Yeah.
and I have extra money,
Yeah.
which I'm never in Walmart with extra money.
Right.
But if I am and I see them because they're only $1 for two.
Yeah.
The only reason I was glad Hostess came back after going out of business was for those
For
cupcakes.
those, not the Twinkie. Because
No,
the
no,
Twinkie's
it's
garbage.
the orange flavored cupcakes.
Okay.
Those are my all-time favorite.
Now, if there was only one left in the world, would you kill over it? Is it that good?
The Hostess cupcake, if there was only one left, nah, shit, no,
Okay.
no,
You'd be okay saying, I'm never going to have this cupcake ever again?
yeah.
What would you do if a child stole something out of your kitchen? Like your child stole a treat out of the kitchen.
Out of my kitchen,
Yeah.
Well, let's take
Your
let's-
child.
Let's do your child, your grandchild, because let's put this in context. What if Jackson or Connor were to say you had a plate of cookies on the table? There's one cookie left. You tell Connor not to go get it,
I
and
saw
he
that
goes and
story.
get it.
I saw that story.
Did you?
Yeah, I got a problem with that.
You
Yeah.
do.
I got a problem with that. Yeah,
Okay,
there's
okay.
no call for that.
So
No
the
call whatsoever.
The story we're talking about, folks, is in Atlanta. 2 women killed
3-year-old.
a 3-year-old over stealing a cupcake out of the kitchen before eating dinner.
Okay, I take it back. I didn't hear that
Didn't hear
story.
the story.
There was another story a couple of weeks ago where the boyfriend killed
Okay.
Yeah,
the
there was that one
2-year-old
too.
Yep.
for stealing the cupcake.
Okay.
It wasn't a cupcake. I think it was a cookie. It
Yeah.
was dessert before dinner. Taking
Okay.
the dessert.
And he killed him. No.
Yeah.
Well, so these 2
We saw that
gals
one,
killed this little boy, 3 years old, over taking a cupcake before dinner, right? Mm-hmm.
The last cupcake.
Yes. Initially, what they told police is that at the scene, that they had given the little boy a cupcake. He started choking on it. They gave him CPR until the paramedics arrived, at which point the paramedics pronounced him deceased. They then take this gal, who was the guardian. She would not give up the mother's name. She was the guardian of the child. And once in custody in the interrogation room, changes up her story and says that the little boy was given a cupcake, ate the cupcake, went to bed. When they went to wake him up for dinner, was no longer breathing, and then performed CPR.
Yeah, because it says here that she said that she changed her story to saying that he ate the cupcake, was breathing and talking fine, went to bed, woke up. When they went to wake him up for dinner, he was dead.
Yep. And then the last story, which would be from the, what is his name? Who does the autopsy?
Which one? The
Medical examiner. There we
Yeah.
go. The medical examiner did all of his x-rays and MRIs, whatever. And the truth comes out that, yes, the little boy obviously did eat a cupcake, but that the two gals, the child died of blunt force trauma to the head, to the torso, and to the legs.
And arms.
Via baseball bat.
No mercy. No mercy for people like that.
Right.
Over
a cupcake?
Over anything.
Right.
Over anything. There are too many people in the world that want kids that can't have kids. And you deal with scum like this that have kids and don't appreciate what they have for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I don't care. There is no reason for that. I've always said, God forbid somebody hurts my child.
No, I'd kill him.
I have no problem with it. Back in the late 70s, there was a 2020 report that showed this guy's daughter had been raped and molested by this guy. She wasn't killed. She was raped and molested. And they caught the guy, and they were transporting him through the airport. And they had cameras following him through the airport.
Yeah.
And there was this guy on a payphone that was talking. And as soon as they passed him, he turned around and pulled out a revolver and shot the guy in the head and killed him.
I remember hearing
It was the father of the girl. I got no problem with that.
Right.
I got no problem with that whatsoever. That guy, just this week, the sentencing of the sports doctor from Michigan, and that father going off asking for 5 minutes alone with the guy, and the deputies had to tackle him and handcuff him because because it wasn't just one of his daughters, it was three of his daughters that got molested by this guy, and he wanted a piece of the guy. I got no problem. I would have given him the piece.
No, if I was a bailiff in that courtroom,
Right.
I would have let him have at it. You get 10 minutes.
Now, I understand this is not justice. It's not the way the American way is supposed to be.
But that's unfortunate.
But let's face it, in the past couple of years, a lot of things aren't the way the American way is supposed to be.
Right.
So I got no problem. Eye for an eye in that case. You don't do a crime against a kid.
No,
a
right,
child.
Absolutely. Here's the fucked up thing about it, is that this happened on October 21st.
Yep.
Okay, October 18th, his mother came to the DFCS, who is the one who has the child in protective custody. Came to them and said, I want him released from this house because he has bruises and scratches all over his body. They denied her that day. 3 days later, he's found dead.
Well, I don't know the reasoning behind that. I just know my background is mental health.
Yep.
I have a master's in clinical mental health. I've taken a lot of classes with a lot of people that work for CPS. And it was always the same thing. These people are overworked. They have caseloads that are hundreds of kids on their caseloads, and they're supposed to be able to keep track of every single one. With budgets the way they are and being able to hire people and keep people, a lot of the people that get hired by CPS, very minimum wage people, that the money that they earn.
Yeah.
I mean, we pay athletes. We just watched the Super Bowl.
Yep.
We pay athletes millions and millions and millions of dollars because they can play a sport.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we got people who are protecting or in charge of protecting people that we pay very little to. It's a hard situation. I don't know what the answer is for that.
Yeah, it's a damn shame.
It's the same argument in the same aspect of teachers don't get paid enough money for what they do.
Well, and that's just like this.
Teachers don't need the money.
Why do teachers not need the money?
Look at the sex they're having with the students. You can't put a price tag on that.
I feel like I should have went to a different high school.
You should have went to.
Happened.
God, all the teachers I had were these old people, and I don't know, what the deal was.
Yeah.
I see some of these teachers that get arrested, 26, 24 years old. I'm like, God,
that's a high five.
I went to the wrong school.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, not to joke around, but if my son were to come home from high school and tell me that, and I saw a picture, there's no punishment going to my son. Sorry.
You want to talk about schools? I don't know. Just this month, since January just passed, did you see in the month of January there were 11 school shootings?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
In the month of January alone, 31 days, 11 school shootings. That's one every 3 days.
Right. We talked about that last podcast, the epidemic of that. The other crime corner we wanted to hit on is one that is actually ongoing in the valley right now. Happened this morning. Last night, the Tempe fire captain
I saw that. Yeah.
was shot and killed. They're calling it a road incident in Scottsdale.
I think they just broke news about it. They're
Yeah.
capturing somebody about an hour ago.
Okay, really what this is in Old Town Scottsdale, it's, like your kind of like a college-esque
Right.
bars, but now with your younger, more affluent
Right.
individuals that
Right.
go out to party, or your guys or gals that want to pretend to be, rich and famous.
Right.
So they have these little golf carts that take you from bar to bar, and you pay them $2-3 to get on there. Perfect. And so this fire captain was on one of these with his friends. This gentleman in a red Scion TC starts bumping them, like bumping into the golf cart with his car. The fire captain gets out and taps on the dude's window. Dude rolls the window down and puts a shot in his head and then speeds off, right? So I was going to give you guys, this fire captain was Fire Captain Kyle Breyer of Tempe. I was going to give you the info to call, but they have just arrested 21-year-old suspect accused of shooting and killing the fire captain. Looks like his name is Hezron Parks. So Hezron Parks, I hope you're ready to take that fire hose, because you'll be getting it probably from the corrections officers in the form of a baton. But you know what? If you're going to kill a public servant like that,
You could kill anybody. Where's the value for human life anymore?
truly, exactly. Especially over an incident like that, you know?
Right.
Like, obviously the guy had to have been drunk or high, and just not, or just be an absolute serial killer, you know, in that mindset. But it's a damn shame, you know. We lost a good man today, especially a firefighter. They've got a hell of a hard job. You went and saw the Yarnell 19, the monument.
The Granite Mountain Hotshots, yeah.
Now, for people who aren't in Arizona that may not know what that is, can you kind of explain exactly what that is, what inspired, the trip?
Rent
up
a
there?
movie on Vudu right now called
Only the Brave, featuring
Only the
Miles
Brave.
Teller.
It happened 5 years ago, in 2013, June 30th. Actually, I think it was June 28th that there actually lightning sparked a fire on Yarnell Mountain, which is about maybe 65 miles northwest of Phoenix. Lightning sparked a fire, and the first evening it was only like 2 acres that were burning, and up in that area it's nothing but sage and chaparral bushes. It's not like it's forest or anything like that. But by the next day, the fire had intensified, and the Granite Mountain Hotshots were called on the morning of the 30th. Now, for those that don't know, the Granite Mountain Hotshots are an elite group of firefighters that go. They're not forest fires. What they do is they go and they prepare the firefighting for the actual firefighters that go in there. They dig lines around the fire to try to get the fire to break. They burn off areas so that when the fire comes, there's no fuel for it to continue to burn, and it kind of dies down. Makes it easier for the planes when they fly over to drop Surrey. Well, 20 firefighters from the Granite Mountain Hotshots, which are based out of Prescott, Arizona. They went to go ahead and do the fire, to do their job.
And they had 3 other hotshot groups with them as well.
They had 3 others. They had the Blue Ridge Mountain Hotshots. I don't know who the third ones were, but there were 3 other hotshot crews out there. And they went out there and they were fighting the fire. And the weather, basically, in better terms, Mother Nature screwed them over, because the weather turned, the wind turned, and all of a sudden the valley that they were in was facing 50-mile-per-hour gusts of wind blowing into them, which caused the fire to turn and come right into them and kind of trap them into an area. They deployed their bags that they have, their survival gear, where they get underneath. It's like tinfoil. They get underneath, and it's supposed to protect them from the heat. Well, it protects you from the heat, but it doesn't protect you when the fire actually touches it. and all 19 firefighters, actually one survived, 19 of them perished in the fire. So if you go up to Granite Mountain, there's actual 89A will take you up there. There's a state park that the state of Arizona put up called the Granite Mountain Hotshot Memorial Park. And when you pull into this park, it's about parking space for 12 cars. And there's a path that goes up, and it goes, they tell you when you start, it's a 2.75 mile hike up. So you're looking at almost 7 miles round trip. Well, actually, I take that back, almost 6 miles round trip. But the hike up, they actually have stairs cut in the mountain going up that they did. It takes you up 1,095 feet up to the top. But every 600 feet on this path is a plaque of one of the firefighters that perished. And it tells you a little bit about who they were, what their responsibility was, who they left behind, things like that. That goes every 600 feet till you go to all 19. And when you get to the very top, there's like a ramada that looks down into this valley on the other side that faces Yarnell. And the valley, you drop down about 585 feet. You could take a path to go down. There are 19 stone croppings that are in a circle. And there's a path around the circle. And there's benches where you can go down and sit. But if you look over the croppings, the rock croppings, there are the 19 crosses of where the firefighters actually perished. It's a very somber experience. You can see that they were laying on top of each other. They were very close to each other. And it's just a shame. But that's the reason why we went up there. It's just a very, very somber. You know, the only experience I liken it to was when our girls played volleyball. They traveled. And one of the traveling tournaments we did every year was to Denver. And we went one year to Denver, and we had a Sunday afternoon that we didn't play. We weren't playing until that night. And we were trying to figure out what to do with the girls because it was February, it was snow, it was cold, and you don't want it.
Nothing like a live phone call.
Are you there?
I know.
Yeah, I just threw up in my mouth.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That excited?
This is a
I will.
night
Not a
of
problem.
first.
All right, baby.
Yeah. Feel you on that one.
That was a quick drive to Flagstaff for Megan.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
No, she had a problem.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
But one of the things that we were trying to figure out something for them to do because it was cold, and it was you don't want to put them in a movie theater. You want to try to find something for them to do.
Keep them active.
Exactly. And I am from, like I said earlier, mental health. I worked with an adolescent behavioral health unit for kids. I knew that where we were staying in Littleton. And I knew Littleton from Columbine.
Okay.
And I thought, and when you Google Columbine, there's a memorial to them right above the school on this little mountain that overlooks the school. So we took the girls, and we're talking about 16 girls that we took up there in vans, and we parked in the parking lot of the school, and we took the hike around the school up to the mountaintop. And on the mountaintop, they have this little memorial set up, kind of like the Granite Mountain, where you walked around this circle, and they had pictures of all the kids. They had their stories. They had, most impressive was they had on the wall around it, they had this big wall right behind it. They had engravings from first responders.
Oh, wow.
That were actually there that day and what they saw and what they felt. And some of them were prayers. Some of them was just exactly what they saw. And it was just a very sombering experience. But I thought it was important that the girls got to see that because up until then, it's just something that you hear in the news.
And they were at that age, too, where they were still in high school.
They're in high school. They're high
so
school age.
This is something real. I mean, we talked about it earlier that there was 11 shootings in 31 days, so this is not something that's going away.
No.
Maybe not to this magnitude of Columbine, because obviously Columbine broke the world when it happened.
Right.
It was like, I don't know if it wasn't the first school shooting, but it was one of the biggest at the time.
I think what made it the biggest at the time, outside of the number of deaths, was the fact that it was caught live on TV. We had CNN. You had all the news channels that were catching them, lowering the kids out of the windows of the school as they were trying to lock it down.
What about the shooter in, is it Texas, who went up into the tower?
Oh, that's back in the, God, I want to say late 60s, yeah.
And that wasn't on TV
Yeah,
because
no,
at that time that kind of coverage wasn't available.
Right.
Okay.
But again, you were dealing with mental illness, so they say, and he sat in the bell tower and he took out quite a few people.
Oh.
Quite a few people. Actually, a good movie with Kurt Russell where he played the guy.
What movie?
I don't remember what it's called, but it's one of the first earlier movies of Kurt Russell.
I'll have to look that up.
Ugh.
Man, I thought we were going to talk about good stuff tonight.
We are.
We got
We're
stuff.
gonna get to
Okay.
good stuff. We're just
We got
doing,
good
you know.
stuff. We
Okay.
like to keep everything.
It's kind of heavy.
Yeah, we like to go a little bit of everywhere.
We try to.
I thought we were going to talk about paranormal stuff.
Oh,
and
we'll go about paranormal
UFOs and stuff
oh,
like that.
speaking of, the Stargazer Ranch in Arizona, correct?
We were
Right.
talking about this earlier.
All right,
today.
Mike. I want to know, the International UFO Conference is coming to Arizona.
Okay.
I want to go.
Okay.
Can we go?
I'd go.
Yeah?
I'd go. I've had two
You guys are on your own on that one.
UFO experiences.
Really?
One when I was young, and one with Carter's mom.
Are you calling Carter's mom an alien?
No. Carter's mom, if she listens, was a good woman, just wasn't good for me.
Okay.
And I wasn't good for her.
She doesn't listen. You're good.
Good. Okay.
Speaking of that, this episode is brought to you by DicksByMail.com. So DicksByMail.com will anonymously send Valentine's Day bag of dicks in a box to any address you put $9.99.
There you go.
There's your comedy.
So,
sweaty balls.
UFO. Continue.
I was a freshman in high school, and I had a friend, Jeff, in Chicago. He's in Chicago now. That we were really good friends, and we were on Camelback and Central. For some reason, we were walking home, and we walked all the way up Central Avenue to Glendale, which was a good 2.5, 3 mile walk, and then from Central over to 12th Street, which was another 1.5, 2 miles, so maybe 5 miles all. So it was a good night walk, and it was a Friday evening, and I want to say it was spring, early spring. Mm-hmm. There was a full moon that had come up over Squaw Peak, and I remember this really clear because as we were walking, we were noticing, and I won't say we saw it right from the beginning. I don't think we actually really saw it until we got to Glendale Avenue, but there was this, you hate saying cigar shape.
Yeah.
Because that's all you ever hear.
Right, like torpedo or
Right, but it was that
yeah.
kind of shape, but it was more like cloud. Mm-hmm. It looked more like cloud, but every once in a while there would be a flash and something small would come out of it and go off into another direction.
Okay.
And it was happening repeatedly, and then things were coming back, and there'd be a flash, and it would go into the cloud, and it'd be gone.
Huh.
And we watched this, and I want to say Central to Glendale to 12th Street in Glendale. That's like a 2 mile walk, so it took us about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes to walk it. We watched it the whole time.
Oh, wow.
And there was a full moon, and I remember thinking, God, that's so crazy. We called Luke Air Force Base.
You
That
called.
Monday morning, we called Luke Air Force Base, and we said what we saw. Not only did we call, but they sent somebody out to interview us. And he came out in the evening, and he came to my mother and stepfather's home, and they interviewed Jeff first by himself, and then they had me in, and they interviewed me by myself. Then they had Jeff and I together, and I say they, it was one guy, and he interviewed both of us, and he had it recorded the whole time. And then he walked out, didn't say nothing to us, he walked out, and my stepfather was standing out in the yard, and he walked out and talked to him, and then he left. And when my stepfather came in, he said, my stepfather, who was, if you knew my stepfather, he was just very stern, very straightforward, very conservative. He said that what the gentleman said was that he doesn't know what you saw, but that you saw something, because you guys pretty much said the same thing. He said, but on top of that, they had a number of reports that night, and the reason they were so concerned was because it was a full moon and the sky was lit up.
Huh.
So they thought that was odd, that something, but we did. Your mom and I, God, 1980, we got married in 86. You were born in 88, 89?
89.
89. We got married in 86, and it was right after we got married, the year after we got married. I had a friend who lived in Vegas, and for my birthday, we decided to go get him and bring him home, bring him back to Phoenix.
Okay.
So I have a friend, Paul. Paul and I did the Blues Brothers at nightclubs. He came along with your mom and I, and we drove from Phoenix to Vegas, and we were just doing a turnaround. We just got to go pick him up, and we did. We got there, God, like 1 o'clock in the morning. We went to a casino. I think we played a few slot machines. We stopped and had breakfast, and we headed home. And when we got right outside of Kingman, from Kingman to Wickenburg, we kept seeing this light up in the sky that didn't move. It just stayed in the same position. And the weird part was, as you turn, as you're driving, you might be driving north, and then all of a sudden you're heading west. It always positioned itself to be in the same spot. And we stopped and got out of the car. All of us got out of the car and looked at it and couldn't figure out what it was, but it stayed there all the way until, God, I don't know when, all of a sudden we didn't see it anymore, but we all thought that was weird. So those were my two experiences.
No drugs involved in either one.
No drugs. No drugs.
No LSD.
No LSD.
No microdosing.
No microdosing. Yeah, no heroin.
Yeah.
No, that was...
So, okay, this would be your time, not necessarily our time. For the listeners who don't know, obviously they just made a movie about it. Can you kind of explain what it was like living in that era when the lights across Phoenix skies was big?
That was during your time, too.
Yeah, that was our time.
How old? I was, what, 5?
No, it was 2004.
No. This was the 90s. If not 90s, late 80s.
It wasn't 80s, no.
No,
It was
no,
what, early
no.
90s?
We lived on 17th Avenue when it happened.
Dude, really?
Yeah.
Original Arizona.
The lights.
March. It's
There was, what,
March.
5 lights?
Oh, no, there was like... I want to say there was like 9 or 10 of them. They were first spotted in Nevada. They spotted them in Kingman.
Mm-hmm.
They spotted them in Flagstaff.
97. March 13th, 1997.
Okay, they spotted them in Flagstaff. So, wow, so it was just 20 years. So now it's 21 years. They spotted them in Kingman, Flagstaff, up through Arizona. I mean, apparently, according to the path, it would have flew right over our house where we were living, because it went right up over the mountains. As a matter of fact, if you ever seen the videos that are taken, they're taken by a lady who lives off of the mountains on 19th Avenue in
I've seen those
Thunderbird.
videos.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where those were shown. Arizona's a hotbed for that stuff. Always
Why do you
has
think
been.
that is?
You know, there's been a lot of rumors if it's Luke
Because
Air Force,
aliens are from Mars and they like the hotter weather.
if it's Luke Air Force Base or
No, it's Roswell. It's
Well,
close to Roswell for
it's
them.
not far from Roswell. It's not far from Area 51, but it's just the skies have always been clear. I thought you were going to talk about Travis Walton. That's the story you want to talk
Who's
about.
that?
That was the guy that was up in the forest that got
White
abducted.
Mountains, Heber.
Abducted.
He
that
says.
that was the late 70s. Oh, don't say he said.
I don't believe
I
him.
remember that.
What's his name?
Travis Walton. He was a
Very, very popular story.
he was a logger he had a crew of like 5 guys, and they went up into the forest and they cut.
He looks like... So he's an American logger. He actually looks like the epitome of a lumberjack.
And they were driving home from a job site one night, and they saw a fire in the sky. Matter of fact, that was the name of the
That was
movie.
the name of the movie, yeah.
They saw a fire in the sky, and they stopped. And he got abducted, and he was gone for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, it said 5 days.
5 days. And they found him in Snowflake, Arizona, at a payphone. He called to get picked up. And they've done polygraphs. They've done everything with this guy. He got nothing to gain from it. He didn't get famous off of it or anything. The guys that he worked with all got ridiculed and everything because, number one, they thought that they were criminals. They thought they killed him. They thought they'd buried his body somewhere. And these guys all said the same thing. And he turned up. Why do you have a hard time believing it? I always look at...
That's easily a bad overdose.
Okay. I always look at it this way.
If you're a logger, though, you're not doing LSD or some shit like that.
You'd be
That's
surprised.
too dangerous of a job.
When early 80s, I went to Pentecostal church for a while and did Bible studies and things like that. And there was this guy, Ray. I'll never forget Ray. Did Bible studies. He was an older guy, really cool guy. And I asked him one day, I said, do you believe in life other than ours? You know, is there life out there? And he looked at me this way and he said, what was God in the beginning? What did they call him?
I don't know.
He was a creator.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Why would we be so ignorant to believe that we were all he ever created and that was it?
Right.
That he was satisfied with what we were and said, okay, I did the best I could.
Because we're the same ignorant people that believe that he sent Jesus Christ, his only son, to Earth and not to another planet.
How do we know he didn't?
All right, valid point.
How do we not know that
Valid point.
how do we not know that there's someplace out there that got it right?
Well, if he got it right, then don't you think we're screwed?
Not necessarily.
I heard a story the other day, like a thought process of someone that said Earth and humans on it are technically, like, quote unquote, under a microscope, and the aliens are the scientists to kind of see what we do right and wrong so they can mimic the rights in their own galaxy.
1979 Animal House.
Okay.
The best line in that movie was when they were with the professor getting stoned.
Yeah, in the bathroom.
And he said, so you're telling me that all of this is just an atom underneath somebody's fingernail in another world? He says, it's totally possible.
Yeah.
It's totally possible.
I have that belief.
So, it's totally
Well, I think
possible.
there's more life out there. Elon Musk just posted today pictures of excursions to Mars, and like in comic book style.
He's been working on that for a while.
Well,
now.
that's his big thing, is he wants to send people to Mars,
Which I think is stupid.
and that's part of what SpaceX is, right? Is people going to Mars and getting there. I'm telling you, I still think the aliens when I had those dreams, Carter. I swear to God, they're at my house.
Why do you never trust an atom?
Because they make up everything.
You saw the Big Bang Theory?
All right, that's it.
Big
That's a
Bang
classic
Theory's good.
one,
That was the joke on the Big Bang Theory this
Sheldon
week.
laughing to that was. He's so right. They do.
You're special.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, like, that shit trips me out, though. Like, I definitely think there could be life.
I think we overthink it. I mean, in my personal opinion,
There has to be life other than fucking
I'm
Earth.
sure there probably is, but I just think that we are too much in our infancy to understand and comprehend what's out there.
Agreed.
Okay, so there's what
So
about
you're saying you agree, though?
what
That there's a
about
possibility that something's out there? Sure. Do I
What
think
about
that there is?
paranormal?
No. I don't believe in paranormal.
you don't?
No.
You're fucking
Even
nuts.
with your experiences.
I don't believe in it at all.
You just
Even
don't
with your
want to believe in it.
experiences.
Yeah, even with my experiences. Because I can't justify the experience in Prescott was real and not my imagination.
And what about the night your friend spent the night?
I still have no idea about that. I still don't. But I didn't see it myself.
All right, so how about this, though? How about when I think I called you about this. Monday, was it Monday night, babe? It was Sunday or Monday night. I had this dream, right? And it's a trippy-ass dream involving snakes and some lady that had a hole in her chest, but then her baby she was holding had a hole in its back, and she hands it to, like, the nurse or doctor, and they just start shaking it like a soda. And at this exact moment, I hear, plain as day, "Whose is it?" And I woke up, jumped out of bed. Reagan jumped out of bed, started pacing the house. I thought it was Allie. I woke Allie up. I was like, "Did you just say something?" No. And but it was a deep demonic voice, and I could have swore someone said it as close as you and I are now.
I think that's your subconscious.
Nope.
I don't believe in it.
Paranormal's real, Carter. We're gonna have
you know,
your dad's friend, the
Well,
paranormal lady.
yeah.
She's gonna take you.
She
just
can,
you.
and it still won't prove anything.
Okay.
Explain my friend coming over so that Reggie understands what we're talking about. Because this was an ongoing thing at our old house before here.
Yeah, but no.
It was an ongoing thing at the condo.
No, you guys, speaking of that, you
I
guys
don't
were
remember
showing me
anything with the
pictures.
condo.
You weren't here. Allie and your dad were showing me pictures of New York?
Yeah.
Your grandfather's house.
Oh,
No,
no.
I was there.
No, your dad's house.
Yeah.
I was here that
yeah.
night.
You were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
all going through pictures.
Your dad's house, right?
Well, that's another story.
That's
but
another
first,
story.
Let's go into the actual house.
Well,
because this
it
was
goes
a
back
big
to the
thing.
condo. If we
What
go
happened
back
at
to
the condo?
Lynn and I would sit and watch TV at night, and always from the way we sat, the TV would be directly in front of us, and then to the left would be front door and also the hallway to go down
That
to where the
curve.
bedrooms were, the curve.
Right.
And it was numerous times that we'd sit there and out of the corner of our eye, you'd see somebody walk from the hallway to the door. Always. And it wasn't just me. Lynn saw it too on several occasions. She'd see it. At the house, never felt threatened. Never felt threatened to anything. Never felt threatened at the house, to be honest with you. Never felt threatened at the house. But
We
there was
wouldn't have been there very long if we had.
there were several instances at the house that occurred. The one in particular was when your friend spent the night, and he got up and it was dawn, because it was almost daylight, and he had to go to the bathroom, and he walked out of the bedroom, which at the time your bedroom was the garage.
Yeah.
He walked out of the bedroom and was walking through the living room, and he saw Megan jumping up and down on the couch. He thought it was Megan jumping up and down on the couch. And he went into the bathroom, and the bathroom was right across from Megan's bedroom.
Right.
And when he came out of the bathroom, he noticed that Megan was sleeping in the bed. And he got freaked out. He got freaked out, and he went back, and he told us. He never spent the night again after that.
Yeah.
But he told us about that. Megan had the incident at the house where she got up. It was a regular occurrence for her to get up in the middle of the night and get into bed with us.
Right.
And she got up one night and came into bed with us and laid in bed. And from the way our bed was, she could see into Allie's room.
Right.
And she saw somebody sitting on Allie's vanity, the chair, looking at Allie. And then noticed that Megan was looking at it, and it kind of leaned back a little bit so that you couldn't see it. And then it leaned forward again and looked over toward Megan to see if she was still watching, and I'm getting goosebumps because Megan was still watching, and Megan got freaked out. Now, I've asked Allie and I've asked you on separate occasions, but you don't seem to remember. I want to say it was Christmas Eve, and the three of you were in Allie's room. And that's when we had the hole cut through the wall so that the two rooms were one room.
The three of us.
It was you, Allie, and Megan were sharing the room together. You were sleeping together. It was Christmas Eve. It was something. You guys were joking around, and you felt something happen in the room. You guys got freaked out.
No. No.
You don't remember
Because when you cut the hole in the room, I was already married to Julie.
Yeah, I wasn't even in the
What house
when
was
you
this
guys
at?
Did this.
It was our house before this.
Yeah, it was
All right,
before
let's
this
say,
house.
I'm not moving into this house. If that's
No,
No,
this
it
was
was the house
this,
before this.
The belief was that it probably followed us here.
to this house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
There hasn't been any occurrences, but
No, I don't believe that at all.
no, it
Don't
just
believe
happened
that
to
at
be
all.
at the condo and the next house.
And
we
number
lived at.
one, it was nothing bad.
I'm bringing a priest,
No, it was nothing bad.
a priest and some holy water.
It was nothing bad.
Nothing major ever really happened. It was just people
I got-
outside of myself seeing stuff.
I got freaked out when I was 10.
When you're 10.
When
This
I was
is the
10.
story that freaks me out.
And this to this day,
If it's real.
if it's real, okay.
Meaning, if it actually like
If you were to
not
call
your
my
memory.
father
Yeah.
in Florida right now, who's 84, he would
It's
tell
the
you the same
exact same
story, and
story.
it still bothers him to this day.
Sure.
yep,
My parents got separated and divorced when I was young.
Uh-huh.
My dad wound up marrying my mom's best friend,
Okay.
and her husband was this police chief in this little town.
Uh-huh.
So my dad took me and her son and my sister and moved us down to South Carolina
Okay.
with his wife.
Uh-huh.
And we lived in South Carolina, we lived in Florida, and then we lived in Charleston. And it's all in the course of a year.
Uh-huh.
And when we got back to New York after the year, they decided that they were going to find a place to get together. They got married. Oh, they were going to get married. That was it. They were going to get married. And they were going to find a place that we could live. Her mother owned a farm. And on this farm, there was this 2-story house that you saw the picture of.
Uh-huh.
And there was a trailer. And the trailer was on one side, and the 2-story house was on the other side. The 2-story house was cut in half. There was an upstairs and a downstairs.
Okay.
Okay? The upstairs had a apartment that consisted, you walked up the main stairs, and at the top of the stairs there was the bedroom, the master bedroom, You walked around the railing. There was our room, which I shared with my brother and my stepbrother. And then you walked around. It was like a big square. You walked around this side, and off to the side of the stair railing, there was a door that went up to the third floor, which was a attic.
Okay.
But if you kept walking, it took you to the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, the bathroom, my dad's room. So it was just one big square. They went out one Saturday night. They were going to go out. My dad and my stepmother, they weren't married at the time, but she lived with her mom in the trailer.
Okay.
And her mom was trying to get my dad to buy the farm.
Uh-huh.
And she was offering it to him for like 20 grand, which in those days was a steal.
Okay.
There was nobody living downstairs. The downstairs was an apartment too, but nobody was living down there. So on a Saturday night, they took us down to this place called the Snack Bar, which was like a diner. And they dropped us off for dinner, gave us money and dropped us off for dinner.
Sure.
We had dinner, and my brother, my stepbrother, and I walked back to the house. And when we got back to the house, they had ash cans, which are M80s.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Now, behind us, the farm itself was like a potato farm. And in the potato farm, they would bury the ash cans to the fuse. They would light them, and they'd lay next to them and play Vietnam.
Huh.
So that when the explosion would happen, dirt would fly all over the place. They wouldn't let me play because they were afraid I was going to blow myself up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to sit on the edge of the field, which was the grass, and the house was behind me. Now, mind you, it's like 7:30 at night.
Uh-huh.
It's dark. And if I looked behind me, the second-story bathroom window the bathroom was lit up. We left the light on, and it was a purple bathroom. So
Purple?
you look
Okay.
around, and all you saw was purple. But I always felt, sitting there, I felt like I was being watched. I kept turning around and looking. They played for a while. We got done playing, and we went into the house. We got into the house, went up the stairs, watched a little TV. Mary Tyler Moore show was on. Got done with that. We went to the bedroom to go to bed. Now, mind you, it's like 8:30 at night, maybe 9 o'clock. And we're laying in bed, and I won't say what they were doing, but I even remember what they were doing. This is how vivid it is to me. I still remember to this day what they were doing.
Sure. Who? Who's they?
My brother and I shared a bed.
Uh-huh.
And my stepbrother had a single bed
Okay.
on the other side of the room.
Okay.
So if you walked into the room, it was the door, the single bed, and then the double bed.
Okay.
And my brother and I laid in the double bed. And we were kids. I was like maybe 10. They were probably 13, 14.
Okay.
Measuring our things.
Okay.
Okay, with a ruler.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
That's what boys do at that age.
Exactly.
Okay.
The downstairs door, which was dead bolted, opened up and slammed.
Okay.
Something went running up the stairs to the top of the stairs, and at the top of the stairs was my dad's room.
Now, could you hear the
yeah.
footsteps?
And something ran up to the top of the stairs to his room, and his door slammed shut.
Now, was your dad home?
No, they went out to dinner.
Oh, I didn't know if you went with them or
No.
Okay,
They went
okay.
out. We were by ourselves. So, Butch, my stepbrother, he wasn't rolled over and he looked at my brother, and I remember him saying, "Great, they had a fight." He says, "Now we're going to hear them yelling all night." And maybe 30 seconds go by, and suddenly we heard going. Now, I said it was a square.
Yeah.
So it was going down the hallway past the bathroom,
Uh-huh.
into the kitchen,
Uh-huh.
into the dining room, into the living room, coming down the hallway toward us, into our room. And by the time it hit our room, it was like thunder. It was so loud.
Yeah.
I was scared to death. Waited until my dad got home. My dad got home, told him what had happened. He told us we were crazy, making things up.
Uh-huh.
Didn't believe us.
So, hold on, go back though. What happened? So you said your dad came home and you told him. What happened in that time?
We just sat together waiting for them
But
to come home.
Did, like, you guys, throw the blankets over your heads?
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
I mean,
did you ever...
Basic kid stuff.
Did you see...
no.
You
Never
didn't
saw anything.
Now, did you guys look, or were you too scared to actually look?
I was under the covers.
Uh-huh.
They weren't.
Okay.
but nobody saw anything.
Okay.
About a week later, now mind you, and again, it sounds like Amityville Horror, and I'm
Right.
sorry, we lived in the house for 30 days.
Okay.
The next week, my cousin came to spend the night, Wayne, and my dad had him sleep with him.
Sure.
And my dad got up, or they went to bed. We all went to bed, and we're laying in bed sleeping. Wayne had to get up and go to the bathroom.
Okay.
So he got up during the night, went to the bathroom.
Into Prince's bathroom.
In the purple bathroom, right. Right. And he's in the bathroom, and my dad heard him stir and get out. And my dad kind of rolled over and opened up his eyes, and at the end of the bed was an upper torso of a woman looking at him, just from the waist up.
Huh.
And she floated over the bed to him, to where she was just above his chest, looking down at him. And he said all he could say was she looked so sad. And she got back down, drifted back toward the door, and materialized fully as Wayne come walking in. And Wayne walked right into her and saw her and flipped out.
Huh.
And my dad got us up and got Wayne, and we drove Wayne home. Wayne didn't want to be in the house anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Still wasn't enough for my dad. Still wasn't enough. It wasn't until the third week that he had to get up to go, because he worked in Delhi. And he had to get up every morning before the crack of dawn to be there for breakfast for the construction site. And he got up one morning, went down the stairs, and turned around and looked back up the stairs. And at the top of the stairs was a figure in mist. And that was enough for him to say, okay, we got to start doing something. But the topper of it all was, we were having dinner one night. We were sitting at the dinner table, and my stepmother said, this is almost feels like home. She said the only thing that's missing is she wished she had her silver. She wished she had her silver that she left when she left at the house where she lived with this guy.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of nights later, there was a knock at the door. We were having dinner. There was a knock banging at the door, and it was the husband, and he was pissed. He was pissed.
Oh, so he found you.
He was,
Found you guys in South Carolina.
Yeah. No, we were back in New York.
Oh, back
we were
in New York. Okay.
He was pissed because he said that somebody broke into the house and took the silver.
Mm-hmm.
And my stepmother was like, no, you're crazy. And they opened up the cabinets, and all the silver was in the cabinets.
Huh.
All the silverware. And so that was it for my dad. My dad says, I've had enough. We're going. And we found a house, which is weird because I only lived in the house for about a year, this other house. And to me, I always consider it home. And that was the house on Meeting House Creek Road. But that was my encounter. And to this day, I still...
No, that's crazy.
Very vivid.
Now, would you... you guys only lived there for 30 days, right? Mm-hmm. And the owner of the ranch... would be your step-grandmother?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did she know?
Because there were stories.
I was gonna say because she didn't.
There were stories.
She didn't stay in the house, right? She slept in a trailer.
Right. There were stories that we heard.
So
there were stories about because behind the trailer was a little woodshed, like a little tool garage, and there was always stories about seeing things in there, seeing people in there, or a person in there. When I went back in 1980, I told you the story about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I went back in 1980, there was I was going to go live not far from where that house is to this day. I was going to go live with some friends.
Uh-huh.
And that was part of the reason why I went back. I wanted to try to fix some things with my dad, and I wanted to live in this town that I was from, the place I still think is home.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to live there. And I went back there, and I always thought at the time, I wanted to find out more about what this house was all about.
Yeah.
I wanted to do research. I thought it would be a great book. I still, to this day, think it was a great book. So I started doing research, and one of the first things that I did is I went to the city hall for the town and got land deeds and wanted to find out when the house was built and all that good stuff. Turns out that the house was built in the early 1900s. It was built by a family named the Brown family, and apparently they were an affluent family from a couple of towns over. Mm-hmm. And their daughter Mariah got pregnant. And Mariah got pregnant, and it was out of wedlock.
Okay.
And so rather than deal with it, what they did was they had the house built and they moved her out there where she would live in the house.
By herself.
Right. And as the story goes, she was cleaning the house one day. She had a boy. She had a little boy. She was cleaning the house one day, shaking the rugs out of the second floor window, and she fell.
Huh.
And when she fell out of the window, she fell into a pile of manure, was in the garden below. Didn't kill her. But what she did was she got a cut, and she got the manure in the cut. And
The staph infection.
Got lockjaw.
Okay.
And died from lockjaw. And I found the death certificate and everything. They said, oh, you know, if you go down the street from the house, there's a cemetery, an old town cemetery, you could find the grave. And I did. I went and I looked. I found the grave. And the grave was so cool because it was her date of her just the year that she was born, the year she died. But the quote underneath was, "Mother, do not weep for me. I'm no longer alone." It was really a cool little saying, I thought.
Huh.
But her son grew up to be a prominent figure in that town.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was there, he was actually at the end of his term as mayor.
Oh, wow.
He actually had become mayor. Never got to talk to him, never did anything like that. I got warned by somebody who supposedly had psychic abilities who told me to stay away. That wasn't good for me.
Okay.
That I needed to be away.
Yeah.
And so I just never dealt with it. But there was a guy, an ex-priest who lived in the house, Bouchang. His name was Bouchang. And if you drove around, and I don't know if you remember when we took you back there, because we drove around the house, and we went around to the back of the house, because it had one of these driveways that you pulled in on one side of the house, and you could drive all the way behind it and come out the other side. If you drove all the way behind it, his back door was painted baby blue with an inverted red cross in a circle.
Huh.
Painted on the door, a big cross, not like a little cross, but it was
Yeah.
a big cross. And somebody told me it was a druid sign to wear off evil or something like that.
But it was upside down.
It was upside down. It was an inverted
That's
cross
how they
upside
do it.
down.
I was going to say, well, if you look like,
That's
you
also-
watch the paranormal movies, the paranormal turn the cross upside down.
Right. This was a druid symbol, I was told.
Okay.
Yeah, because I asked somebody, once I moved back to Arizona, I'd asked somebody who was into that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But I've always believed in that stuff. I have no problem with that.
Ugh.
No problem with that whatsoever. There's too much stuff that happens
Yeah.
for you to say, no, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, you see, movies like Amityville Horror and the actual storylines of these movies. Like, it has to. I get it's Hollywood, but at the same time, they get these stories from somewhere.
Do you ever remember the picture from the Queen Mary in the engine room?
I still think it was a speck of dust.
But it was all over the place.
Yeah, but the place was dusty.
Okay.
Old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm just a skeptic. I don't believe in it. I don't.
Well, it's like the haunted hotel in Jerome. If you go in, like my family and I, my cousins and I, we all went in there and we're taking photos. And in every photo, and it's, if you're nowhere near a window, nowhere near the lights, whatever, you take a picture, there's orbs that show up in your photos.
Oh, we had that in San Diego. Remember that?
Orbs.
Yeah. Like light orbs.
I've got pictures to this. Just a few years ago, we went on Labor Day. Allie and the girl, and Megan and Grammy and Lynn, we went to San Diego. And in Old Town San Diego is what's the name of the house? There's a house there. It's the most haunted place in the country. It's considered the most haunted place in the country. And when you go in, you take a graveyard tour, they call it. And you go in to the house, and we went in at night. And the guy who owned the house was a judge for the county of San Diego back in the 1800s. And so the house was part courtroom, part general store, part living quarters. And they tell you all the stories. And when you go into the courtroom first, and it's still set up like a courtroom with a judge, a jury, and then where you would sit. And you go in there, and they tell you, take pictures, use flash, whatever you want. Just take continuous pictures, and don't take just one. They said take several pictures in a row because what's there in the first picture may not be there in the second picture, or maybe in there in the third picture. So we're just flashing pictures back and forth, not thinking anything of it. We only went there because people on Allie's volleyball team told us that they had gone there and they had taken pictures and seen a lot of orbs. So we wanted to see what we saw. So we took a whole bunch of pictures, never thought anything of it. They take you to this park up by the Presidio, the military police at the top of the mountain. Then they take you to the park, and you walk on the park, and they're telling you the story. The park turns out to be an old cemetery that they removed the headstones and made it into a park. Well, we get home, and we're going through the pictures, and I'm seeing orbs, what I thought was orbs. So that young lady I told you about, who you guys are going to interview, I called her up at work one day, and I said, hey, I've got these pictures. Can you look at them? Can you tell me if they look like orbs or do they look like dust? So I sent her like 5 or 6 pictures. And she called back like an hour later. She says, I don't care about the orbs. She says, do you see the figure sitting in the chair? And I'm like, get out of here. And I'm looking at the pictures, and sure enough, in one of the pictures, there's a mist-like figure forming in one of the chairs in the jury box.
Oh, fuck that.
There's like 3 pictures in a row. First picture, nothing. Second picture, yes. Third picture, nothing.
Where are these pictures?
I have them on the computer.
Oh, I want to see them.
I have them on the computer. I want to say, is it the jury? Jury?
Jury.
Jury.
Was it the jury house?
Yeah.
Was that the name of it? Yeah, it's really cool. Matter of fact, the last time we went to Old Town, I wanted to go do it again, but Lynn didn't want to do it. And they tell you all the stories. It was really cool. Yeah, really cool.
I feel like if I go to some shit like that, someone's going to follow me back.
Well, that's what Allie's fear is. That's what Allie's fear is.
I know, that's why she won't let the poltergeist lady come over to our house. She said it has to come to your house.
Well, I say, tell me when you're ready to do it, and I'll invite her over.
Yeah, but now that we're moving in with you guys,
Yes.
she can meet us at a bar.
See? You'd have to experience it. So.
You're too skeptic?
I'm too skeptic. There's no science behind it that can back it up, so I don't believe in it.
Why does there have to be science?
Because
You think science answers everything?
Any logical mind, you have to have some sort of backing. You can't just go on word.
Okay. You want to go on that?
Yeah.
Alright, so how is it that cavemen, scientifically proven to the date when certain paintings were drawn in these caves, have UFO-like and alien-like figures and subjects in their paintings?
We're not arguing over UFOs at the moment, so that wouldn't make any sense.
Well, no, but you said that UFOs...
No, I said that there's a possibility. My thing about UFOs is I don't think that we're seeing them as often as we say we're seeing them. I think that we may be seeing cosmic interference in the atmosphere that may cause these lights to appear. I'm not saying that UFOs don't exist. I'm not saying that aliens don't exist. There's a possibility for it out there. And sure, there's no reason why we shouldn't expand it. But the fact that we see, now it seems like every year we're seeing something different.
Yeah.
Every other year, every other month we're seeing something different. Come on now.
The one thing I really believe is that last one that we saw, the blue light.
And I wish I would have saw that actually in person.
Just because, like...
It was so strange seeing it on Instagram.
So it was here, right?
Yeah.
Like, we saw it here, Utah, Mexico, New Mexico, California.
Didn't they see it in parts of Texas as well?
Yes, in Texas. But yet, then, a few months before that, the same exact thing in Mexico.
And they said it was Elon Musk.
And 2-3 years ago in LA, right? And every time they have it, the first time, it was, the Air Force and the Navy were testing some rockets.
Some sort of missile or something,
Okay, a missile. But yet now... 5 years later, you're getting the exact same thing from a rocket?
Yeah, doesn't make sense.
Not at all. And Elon Musk said, obviously, that was not SpaceX 9.
Yeah, even though they tried to put the blame on him.
That they're doing... And even today, if you look at it, it says Elon Musk's SpaceX 9.
Yeah.
But on his own Instagram, he says he's not launching that shit until the end of February. So you can't tell me that that's what it was. There's some creepy shit out there.
There's some weird stuff.
I wish I could take, like, a Matrix. You know the Matrix? Take, like, the blue pill, and it gives you, like, all of life's unanswered questions. But then at the same time, I feel like I'd kill myself because I know too much.
Do you think time travel would ever be possible?
Yeah.
Come on, really?
Yeah.
So, Reggie, how was your penguin experience?
The penguins were incredible.
Were they?
Yeah. It was really cool. So, Odyssey Sea Aquarium in Scottsdale. You and Lynn got me and Allie the Penguin Interactive program there for my Christmas present. And we go, it's really cool. You know, the aquarium itself's been open a year, and so they've added, I know you guys have been before. Have you been, Carter? So now they have a lot more stuff in there. Like they had some cool different parrots. They had toucans. A lot of stuff that's new. Now they have like a 21 and over kind of thing.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yep. And then they have, now they have the polar bar there.
Huh.
Which is, you go in and it's all ice. It's all frozen. The seats are ice. You have to wear like
Really?
a snow jacket. Yeah, we'll go
I would
sometime.
definitely try that. That'd be cool.
But, so you go in and like you do a 5-minute class of getting to like learn a little bit more in depth about the penguins that they have and where they come from. And then we go into the actual penguin enclosure, like where all the guests of the aquarium see them. And we got to actually hold the penguins, touch the penguins, pet them. We got to play with them. And like, you know, so we're taking like the little windmills you put in your yard and shit.
Yeah.
And like the penguins play with you. Bro, oddly enough, they love laser pens.
Really?
Yeah. They kept telling us, they're like, penguins are more like cats than you'd think. And so like if the penguins are misbehaving or like we get too close, or like this one, Salem started attacking my pants.
Yeah.
The handler took out this little laser pen and started circling the penguin, and then like would go up the wall, and the penguins would jump and then waddle over the wall and like start trying to jump to get the laser pen. It was super cool. Definitely like bucket list for me, getting to play with penguins. I did find out the South African black-footed penguin can live in my house. 70 degrees is what they like, anywhere from 70 to 80. But you have to have 6 of them for their own mental health. So that's my next purchase. 6 penguins. Although they pooped a lot. Found out penguins poop every 10 to 15 minutes.
Really?
Yes. That's too much poop.
That's a lot
too
of poop.
much.
That's too much poop. But definitely the coolest experience I've gotten to do.
Too cool.
And then right now they have like they have a sea trek, you know, where you put on the air helmet
Right.
and a wetsuit and you get to swim with. They've got I think it's a lemon shark in there, along with, you know, the stingrays and all these other fish and everything. Normally I think they said it's normally $140. Right now it's on sale for $49
That's not bad.
to
Trying
go.
to get more people to come in and experience it.
Well,
it's
absolutely. You know,
affordable.
like I said, it's been open a year, so initially, like, oh, it's the first actual real badass aquarium in Arizona.
Right.
So now they're, you know, bringing out more things. So now they have the nightlife at the Odyssey, which is super cool. Like, they turn all the lights off, and then have, like, black lights going throughout, and then all the animals and shit, and you get to drink throughout the aquarium.
See, I told you.
So I think
What?
that'd be really cool.
That's the singles thing I was telling you
it's
about.
still
Yeah.
for nerds. Alright.
Shut up, go.
Nah, I would never do that.
You just said that sounds cool, you'd go.
I would do the polar bar, yeah. I wouldn't go to aquarium for nightlife.
Why?
It's stupid.
Why?
I go to a bar if I want nightlife. And I don't need to go around fish and animals to have a nightlife with other nerds that love fish. I'm alright. Just doesn't make sense to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why Carter is single.
And I'm happy about it.
No, you're not.
I'm excited about being single. I just said this earlier this weekend. Megan was saying, you know, they were trying to figure out what we were going to have for dinner Friday night. She's like, I want this and I want that. And I was just like, I'm so glad that I'm single because I don't have to say, hey, what do you want for dinner? I don't care. Yeah, no.
I told you.
I
We
don't
would
do
make
that
a
shit.
living if talking about like the food truck, or if we did like an actual brick and mortar restaurant. You name it, I don't care. You choose. That's what you name it.
Yeah.
You know how many people will come? Everybody. Everybody every night. Because that's what every wife or warden says.
6 wings for $5.
Yeah, I mean, we had what? How many wings tonight?
Oh, 20 pounds.
20 pounds of wings. I mean, easily.
Oh, they're delicious too.
Could have crushed it.
Delicious.
Yeah, you're welcome. I worked really hard on smoking them and
Smoked, then fried, then
tossed them to my
Tossed.
line cook to fry them. You know, as a pit
shut
master.
the fuck up.
As the pit master, I had to make sure that they were smoked to the proper flavor palette, and then.
Well,
move
you
them
had to
over.
cook because you didn't buy like you were supposed to.
Yeah, I didn't buy.
That's what really happened.
Microsoft pissed me off. Completely forgot that shit was going to come out, and then all of a sudden I look, oh, Microsoft came out. Fuck me.
We're probably not going to do that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work.
What,
Yeah.
the wings?
Yeah.
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 The next step now is to go on to baseball season.
Yeah.
Baseball.
Next step is to get you moved and situated.
Yeah, that too.
Now that we got Megan's approval.
Yeah, move out of the house and in with you guys until a baby comes. Save up and
Megan
then.
was very grown up in her decision to say okay.
Very much so.
I was proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you and I and Allie and the baby and your kiddos will be all getting a place together.
Yep.
So we've been on the search and kind of narrowing down what area we'll be in.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll then have our permanent podcast infrastructure,
Yep. Our
which
studio in the
we've
garage.
already been. Yeah, we've already been planning out, which is awesome.
Yep. Designing, coming up with ideas for decorations on the wall.
Absolutely getting the permanent chairs,
Yeah, permanent
which
chairs.
I think we definitely narrow that
Feel
down today.
comfortable.
Probably get 3 for a guest and have that one to the side,
Yeah, most likely.
Be ready to roll.
Yeah, this should be good. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to have that space to just be open, like not something that's
Yeah.
for 1 minute it's a studio, the next minute it's a living room, the next minute it's this.
Well, that's hard too, because we can kick out the dogs and call
It's
it
going to
good.
be nice to just seclude ourselves for an hour and a half, and do a show and give people exactly the quality of show that we're looking for.
That's what the future's bringing.
Yep.
So stay tuned, my friends. In the meantime, continue to drink the good drinks, eat the good foods, and be an overall good person.
I love fat people.
Show me the honey.